West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Alright, a very bright morning right from Arua City, and I must say it is a great day, an important one that is also really in the lives of journalists, and this is also a day where we honor what we call journalism as a profession. And definitely I am with a wonderful set of panelists, and we are going to be discussing the essence of celebrating what we call the World Press Freedom Day. And remember, this day is also really there to honor and also really appreciate what the journalists are doing. But I mean, this all the challenges that they go through in their day-to-day activities. But before we get to give you that, allow me briefly introduce my guests without wasting any time, because we are already 21 minutes. That is after the hour of 7 o'clock, and that means that we are some minutes after the hour of 7 o'clock, where initially we were supposed to begin. But nonetheless, we are already here. That was due to some small technical challenges, but we already in that is already to give you what is happening right across West Nile sub-region and really the world at large. And also really that is the reason as to why you need to be part of the show. And for those of you watching us online, that is on Facebook, on X, on YouTube, we very, very much welcome you. And also those watching us via satellite, that is on sometimes who have been really missing us. We are back, and we hope we are going to be doing what you have been missing. And that is the reason as to why you must also really be part of the show. But nonetheless, you can see it is a panel of 3. And on my right, that is also really a wonderful journalist. If I can briefly maybe introduce him, that will be quite well. He may be a new face to some of you, but to some example, he may also not be a new face, because this is not the very first time he has been here. To the ardent viewers, you must also remember that at one time he was here last year, and this could be his first time this year. But nonetheless, you are still most welcome, SABIR Musa. He is a journalist with the PACIS, and also really maybe we are going to be discussing more with him today. You're most welcome.
Thank you so much, my colleague journalist. Thank you so much for hosting me here once again. This is the third time. Yeah, this is the third time I'm here on West Nile TV. I'm happy to be here once again in building this togetherness as journalists in West Nile.
All right, that is him. He is a man who does not speak a lot. He is a man of few words, and really sometimes we wonder how he talks, because he's somebody who does not have a lot of words. But when he sits and does his things, really, you really feel the impact. But nonetheless, you're most welcome on the show. I also have on my left, that is Alinda Moses, one of the seniors, whom I want to call a senior, because he has been in this game for quite some period, and he has risen from ranks of being a reporter to now an editor. Really, he can also really share with us his experience. That would be quite well. He works with the radio, that is Access FM, which some of you call Arua City Radio, and also some of you may not be knowing who exactly is. He is the Igwe, as some of you know him. But nonetheless, you're also most welcome to the show as we dwell on the discussion that we are going to be doing with you this hour of the morning.
Yes, thank you so much, and it is glad me being here for the first time, I think, as a guest, but not for the others. I have been here previously, but as a guest, for your guest, it's my first time. Okay. Yes, good morning, viewer, and thank you so much for having tuned in to that is West Nile Television, which is on Star Times channel 477. Yes. All
right, that is him, and we already here to also really do the discussions without wasting any time, because we want to understand why a journalist must celebrate this day. And you, as the viewer, you also really can still make recommendations towards what journalists can also really pick a leaf from, because sometimes we do understand that they go through some challenges, and in most cases we see journalists being bantered, and others have been killed. That is in the due course of the execution of their duties, and that is the reason as to why we are here. And I want to start with SABIR. Why must a journalist honor this day, and why is this day very important in the lives of a journalist? And that, really, if you can see, this day was gazetted quite way back, and up to now we continue to celebrate this day. That is on the 3rd of May, which is today, and it's a Friday, and that is why you are seeing us dawning in a way that is a bit casual, because we are already heading into the weekend, and we want to also discuss with you and see to it that this day is honored very well. And really, this initiative to celebrate the World Press Freedom Day was first started, that is by an African journalist, during a UNESCO conference that is way back in Namibia in the year 1991. And in December 1993, the United Nations General Assembly decided to celebrate it after the recommendation of the UNESCO General Conference. And this also came because sometimes we do understand that journalists go through a lot, and really in most cases where people see journalists as enemies, and that is the reason as to why we want to say we are not enemies. We are rather doing what is good for the members of the society. And really I want to now start with SABIR and see why must a journalist honor this day, and why is this day very important in the lives of a journalist?
Thank you so much, Farish. First of all, to me, journalists should not be celebrated only in this particular day alone. This is just summing up the whole celebration every year, the 360 plus days. To me, journalists should be celebrated each and every second because the role journalism in general plays, the press plays in the world, does so much. If you look at this particular day, the World Press Freedom Day, it generally means letting government to appreciate what the whole field of journalism does, or the press, in all the sectors. But you realize in many times it is the opposite of what happens. Now, this particular day, why it is very, very, very important is to appreciate that journalism does a lot, or the press does a lot in developing the country, in the community, in every sector. Because journalism in general cuts across all the sectors, you know. If you take the theme of today, it's purely about environment. But many people don't appreciate that. Now, if you break down that theme, what journalism actually does in environment, protection of environment, take example of the Zoka Forest, Central Forest, which is in Madisab region. It is being depleted. And if this goes silently, people continue to degrade it, no one is going to help. And sometimes, many cases have been reported actually involving the government officials or the security people being involved in the center of, actually in the heart of degrading this Central Forest Reserve. But when journalists keep reporting continuously, exposing the injustices, the abuse of our environment, you realize action will be taken. That is actually one of the major activities, or the roles journalism play related to this particular day, actually focusing on this theme of protecting the environment.
I will be able to also bring you in line to that, but maybe let me first bring in Alinda. Why must a journalist celebrate this day, and why is this day important in the lives of journalists as they execute their day-to-day activities? Because in most cases, we do understand that some people look at journalists as enemies, and this is also already quite witnessed during the period we're heading into. That is the 2026 elections, and really during the previous elections, we have seen it, journalists being beaten and also really harassed during the period there. And this is the period we are heading to. You will be able to make recommendations to the fellow journalists, or maybe how they can protect themselves, because sometimes we do understand that some people, it could not be what we think, but whom we know, but it could just be individual responsibility, because I do understand that the issues of also some protecting the laws of their hands is not exactly what we think. But really, if you can be able to ask you on what you can put forward in relation to why a journalist must honor this day, and why the day is very important in the lives of journalists out there. It could also maybe paint for us an image why this day may be celebrated.
Yes, thank you so much. And looking at our day as journalists, that is the World Press Freedom Day. One, why we need to celebrate it, but in fact I will even not call it celebration. This is a reflection of what we do in our field, with our community, and with the government. So, as you said, we have been tortured in the hands of community. We have been tortured in the hands of government. We have been tortured in the hands of where we are employed. So you find that at every angle you are captured. Yes, and now coming to the community, we are voices of the voiceless in the community. When it comes to some of the urgent issues, when it comes to issues of health, when it comes to issues of roads, that is infrastructure development, and many others, you find that a journalist is always at the center. But sometimes the community, the way it perceives the journalist, becomes very harsh. It becomes uncalled for, and you find that a journalist at the end of the day is harmed because of fighting for the community. The same community is fighting for the same community. Which,
sorry to cut you short. You're not talking about the community fighting the journalists themselves. Yesterday, I had the same feeling. I had the same also treatment, because I went to somewhere people were crowded, but the time I entered, people started running away because they were saying journalists have come.
Yes,
and these are the same people that you
and these are the same people you have gone to help. These are the same people you have gone to rescue. So that if you talk on their behalf, maybe something will be done, depending on what has happened. If you talk on their, if you talk for them, you never know action is taken. So coming back to the issue of environment protection, one, we as journalists, I would say we have played our role to some extent in making sure that the environment is protected. How have we done it? We have done it through producing stories, through producing podcasts. By the way, we also have citizen journalism who have made social media, the use of social media to maximum. And they have reported issues whereby people have, you find that there are people who are using their offices, who are using their personalities to make sure that they degrade the environment.
You know, talking about people taking advantage of their offices, this was quite witnessed during the time of the logging. I won't be able to talk about it in the Madi sub-region where we did see our forests getting depleted. Sometimes we were told that there were big guns who were actually involved behind this trade, and we had people coming all the way from Kenya, and these were stories that were brought in the limelight by the media, and that is also really a duty media is supposed to be doing, because you really realize that if we are not part of the environment fight, then definitely we may be able to do a disservice to the society, because we hold the powers, we hold the masses, and the masses hold us accountable. They also want us to hold the leaders whom they have entrusted in these offices accountable. So the chain continues. It starts right from us, and then it continues the way it is supposed to be going. So I don't know what journalists, how we can also really ensure that we continue with the fight against environment vis-a-vis the challenges, because sometimes we do understand that some journalists also really are now moving away from the professional ethics of conduct, where we talk about not picking the brown envelope, but sometimes we see them being overshadowed by that. How can we ensure that the issue about fighting for environment is not also really curtailed and may be controlled by people who have the brown envelopes, as per they say?
One, we should all carry the responsibility of protecting the environment. If you check just recently, we have been from global warming to global burning. Just recently in January, February, here within West Nile here. There are some districts where you would reach and think, where are you? Are you in hell? Some of the people who say that hell is hot. So you would think that you're already in hell. So one, we should carry the responsibility, we as stakeholders in this. Here, everybody is blamed, not only journalists, not only maybe a businessman or any other person. We are all blamed for this. Now, what do we need to do? We need to go back to the drawing board. Everybody do your responsibility. For us as journalists, one, yes, we can say we are celebrating because we have educated the community. In Madiokolo, we have been talking about issues of charcoal burning in Madiokolo, and the trend is now changing. Though it is still, in some areas it is still there, but the trend is changing. What people should know now, it is time to embrace government programs. Government is bringing programs which are to help people move from, to change the mindset of the people. Yes, if you think that burning charcoal is the only solution to your problems, the government says no. Can't you get a Myoga money? Can't you get PDM money and invest it?
But you know, electricity is still expensive, which is the alternative to the fossil fuel that we're talking about.
Yeah, no.
How do we make that ordinary mama in Madiokolo, maybe in Terego district, to understand that besides cutting down trees, that is for firewood, we can still embrace the use of electricity, much as the connectivity is still lacking? How can we ensure that we are also a part of this fight?
Yes. And
how can we make that ordinary citizens understand and embrace?
How do we make it? We as journalists, it is our role to use our all media platforms we have to make sure that we sensitize this mama in every local language the mama understands best. Yes, let us not keep on using foreign languages when it comes to issues of the community, because in a community we have various many people who have not gone far with education, but maybe they are ignorant because they don't know. And secondly, it is our role, we who have at least attained some level of education, to go back to the community and say, no, mama, you see, we are in time for change, and this is the time for mindset change. Mama, as you produced us 7, me as one of your child, I'm going to plant 7 trees.
Okay.
Let my brother also plant 7 trees. And at the end of the day, you'll find that if all the 7 plant 7 trees, we have 21 trees.
Which is an addition to the
which
fight
is an
against
addition to the
environment.
5 which were already in the home.
Okay.
Yes, so it is time that we all embrace it and we all take it on as a community, as the stakeholders, to make sure that we fight this together. If we leave it to the mama, mama will not do anything.
Okay, that is as what Alinda is putting forward in relation to what we talk about environment. Because if you look at the theme for this year, it is well reflected on your screens, and that also really shows how best we are to also really uphold the fight against the environment, because we are seeing the wrath of that is the changing environment and the climate changes, which we are seeing also really very, very much affecting the different sectors. If you really see farming today, most of the farmers cannot be able to also really plant their trees, maybe plant their crops, because if you see, recently I was moving that is around Arua city where I had planted, and now the trees and the crops that they had planted are really facing also really being hit by drought there, because there's no rains and we are having unstable rains, which is a clear manifestation of what we talk about climate change. And that means that we all have to play a role, because that whether you like it or not, me and you have played also really a role that is in destroying the climate and the environment, and also the restoration must be also in the hands of each and everybody. Now I want to bring on Sabir, how we can also involve journalists in also what we talk about the environment protection and also preservation, because journalists hold that is a number of powers. Because if you really see the journalists, one person can be communicating to over thousands, and that means that these are thousands who believe in that journalist can also really play a role. Alinda did talk about it very much. I don't know if you can add anything on what we journalists can do to also really see that we be part of the environment protection drive that the world is talking about today. Sorry?
Well, to me, like any other profession, before a journalist becomes a journalist, he's a member of the community, and he's a Ugandan for our case here. Whatever a police officer goes through, whatever a teacher goes through, whatever a community member down in Oruko goes through, it is exactly what journalists goes through. So the first thing is to be an exemplary. At our radio station, Radio PACIS, we have a campaign called Go Green Campaign, which was launched about 4 years ago. That campaign targets everyone, and it starts from the staff of Radio PACIS, about 100 plus. In that campaign, we have seedlings given to staff to go and plant if you can manage. If you want 1 acre, if you have a 1 acre land, you can get free seedlings, yeah? You're going to plant these ones, and then you are being monitored to see that you protect this until they mature. And that sets an example, not because you're just a journalist, but you're a member of the community, although you as a journalist. Now, what I'm saying is, as journalists, we also need to be exemplaries. If possible, get a piece of land, plant trees. That is one. But when it comes to the side of profession, reporting, I think we need to change the style of reporting our stories now. Not only focusing on the situation. Remember recently what my colleague Alinda was talking about, the global warming, all those things. We can even prevent this reporting by focusing on solution-based journalism, yeah? We focus on solution-based journalism. What needs to be done now that we experience that same thing? What needs to be done to prevent it happening in the next 10 or 20 years to come? This is why I think we need to change the strategy. We need to reorganize our newsroom strategy meetings to focus on reporting on issues that can help so much in preventing such things that is inside the environment. But also, investigative journalism needs to now come in the play here. We have been doing surface investigations, but I think the core needs to come out now. We have seen so many things happening here, but we report the surface, the number of trees, blah, blah. We need to go deeper and deeper and deeper and understand what actually causes this. Such that recently you saw River Nile banking its bank.
And we haven't talked about the rising water levels across the country now. Most of the water bodies, not only River Nile.
What have we done as journalists to educate the public about this? I know, yes, we're not professionals in that side of maybe water rising, but we have the power of going deep. First of all, doing research. You read deeper about this. You do a lot of research from all the platforms that you can. Then you go and engage the people who have knowledge on this, the experts, that one can give informed reporting, not the usual reporting that we do. So that is one of the things. Investigation, doing deeper analysis, going to tracing back what happened, and also identifying solution, because solution is now one of the, remember when we were in journalism class, there are 5 questions that we ask, the 5 W's: what happened, who was involved, where did it happen, why did it happen. These are the primary questions, but now we are focusing on the S, which is introduced newly, which focuses on solution. Now, after reporting all these things, maybe the number of trees and the green is actually disappearing. So what is the solution? That is the question now we need to answer by moving deeper, not only reporting the surface in the daily news reports of 2 minutes, 1 minute. That is not enough. But not only reporting once in a while, you need to continuously report such that you engage different stakeholders. We have so many stakeholders. We have methodological, these people methodological, and then we have NFA, we have NEMA, we have even the community themselves. We have had so many about security officers or people with authority destroying forests. What have we done as journalists to question them? And also, what has the police or the judicial system in general does? Some of these cases are reported to police. How far has the file been taken to raise the state attorney?
Coming to that brings me to the question. The issue about fighting for the protection of the environment is not something new. And the issue of also the protection and preservation of the environment, as the same, has also not been new. And usually we continue talking about people not cutting down trees, but this continues to go on amidst also the changes in climate that we are witnessing today. Where could be the gap? In your own opinion, maybe in your own analysis, where could the challenge be coming from? Because we cannot tell people that do not cut trees, do not maybe do this, do not do that. But we cannot seeing them often doing these things because of the different reasons. Because if you really interact with these women who cut down the trees, they will tell you that is the alternative source. There's no alternative source of income. That is what they have been doing ever since they were born, and that is something that has now become, that is a family business, and there's no way that they can move away from charcoal maybe to another business. And that is also a reason as to why we want to say as journalists there's more that we can do to also really make this people understand, and the government also needs to come up clearly, because sometimes this is happening, I believe, because government has not come out maybe to also support this people enough. And maybe in your own opinions, what do you think could be lacking, and where could the gap be coming from? That is also really the issue about environment protection and preservation, which has often been the topic among people. Because if you reflect back, this is not something new. You will understand with me, you bear with me, that it's not the very first time we are talking about climate preservation, just that also the campaigns are now shooting up because of the wrath of the negative, that is the implication of the climate that we are seeing today, and that is why it is becoming very much vivid. Maybe in your own opinion, where could be the gap, and what exactly needs to be done here to see to that also really people now move away from the issues of also really degrading and hampering with the environment, so that also really they can also be engaged in the fight against the protection and preservation of the climate and the environment at large.
Farish, I believe very much aware that you know about the Presidential Order 3, number 3,
yes.
which focuses mainly on charcoal. And this came in force because of the huge sum of sacks that people moved from West Nile to Kampala to Kenya, and some of these ones, according to a daily monetary investigation, moves up to Asia. So the Presidential Order number 3 came in force because of that, to prevent it. That talks about a huge sum of, because if you take the impact, how many how many lorries move away with every night. That is why the Presidential Order came in place. And then this has actually come as a relief somehow to districts that have been struggling so much. My own district, Madokolo district, where I come from, and I believe where I also come from, it has been struggling so much. It's one of the districts that has seen the biggest impact of this one. Madokolo district in 2019, when the interim council came in force, that's after moving away from Arua district here, came up with five ordinances, and out of these 5 ordinances, one of them is charcoal ordinance. Up to now, this has not taken off. It has not been implemented, and that was one of the strategies, or one of the laws, actually, if I can call at the district level, one of the laws that can come in place to see that charcoal burning, huge sum of it, is prevented. I talked to the production officer. I got a copy of this draft and I read in it that I said, surely this is going to help a lot. It is not limiting charcoal burning as per se, but the number is one of the limiting factors. How many sacks are you going to do? That is one of the things. If such ordinances are implemented, was going to help a lot. But also I have one big problem with, before you interrupted me at first, I have one big problem with the judicial system of Uganda. It is very smart, well organized. Criminal case, you move from here to police, you report the case, then a file is prepared to raise the state attorney, and this one is sanctioned maybe to courts of law. But this has been interrupted. Even so many of these cases that do not cross the police level, many of these, William Amanzo, the Friends of Zoka, these people have reported many cases. How many police officers, or how many security officers, or how many people who are caught red-handed destroying this forest have been in courts of law? How many? This is one of the questions. That's where journalists need to collaborate with all these other stakeholders. Because activists, as I said at first, before you become a journalist, you're a community member, and you're going to feel the impact of these distractions, yeah? But on a lighter side, that an alternative that can become in force is, you know, the briquette making is one of the new things that in the community. Briquette also comes as an alternative.
You know, people talking about that, many people have left the places unfilled, and that also, without the restoration, we have seen the negative impacts. And recently there was a story in Maracha where a young person drowned after soil that was removed from there was also never filled back, and that left the place grounded with a lot of water and flooded, and that is already how it became very dangerous for the people around there, for the children to be moving, because sometimes children also really can't take advantage of that, and that can also really be a risk to them, and really, that is also a reason as to why maybe we want to see maybe the issue about protection of the environment does not depend on who you are, and I believe as a journalist, each and everybody can use advantage of what he or she has. And much as we work for different media platforms, I may be working for TV, you're working for radio, and somebody's out there working for print, but still we say we hold what we call the pen and paper, which is our tool, regardless of where you work from. I believe that is certainly something that we could be able to do. I don't know what now you can suggest as a solution to what we are talking about, so that also really these issues are addressed.
So those are some of the key things that I've highlighted, which I believe
then
can
solutions,
help.
which are solutions, what do you think needs to be done? You talked about the law being also not being implemented, because I believe as Uganda we have so many laws which are very good, but then
the problem, my problem is not whether there's law or there's no law. It is about the enforcement. How many districts have enforced this? How many people have been prosecuted? How many people have really crossed that judicial path from police, the state attorney, courts, and serve their sentence? If I'm told they all have their case registered. So these are some of the things that really needs to be done. Enforcement needs to be put in place, and also if you take out community mindset change is very important. We talked so many times about you need to plant trees. That should not be the last time. We need continuously explain to the community members the importance of planting these trees, how it's going to help the community members, how it's going to help the general Uganda or the globe itself, yeah? But also, on the other hand, I also a little touch on the government. Uganda is one of the countries that has the highest number of refugees, now about 1.6 million refugees, mainly from South Sudan. And if you take Bidi, which is in West Nile, in Yumbe district, it is the second biggest refugee settlement, I think, in Africa, in Africa. But settling these refugees does not just come, they come and be in a permanent building. First of all, they clear the environment, they clear the trees to see that they settle, yeah? But many of these places have not been, trees have not been replaced. So I think there's need for government to move very far away from just talking about it, but in working together with the local NGOs or these other people to see that these trees are replaced.
You're not talking about the trees being replaced. So many strategies have been made that is towards the restoration of these trees. We have seen so many of these non-government organizations also really trying very much to see to that also they restore the trees. Recently, I was in Terego district where one of the entities, one of the NGOs, common known as Nature Uganda, was giving out tree seedlings to a number of community members and also really to see that these people plant the trees at the end of the day, which we want to see grow. But sometimes we also see these people leaving the good initiatives at the beginning. When it comes to the issues of implementation, maybe checking how these trees have grown, we don't see a lot of impact. We also want to see maybe how best can we also really uphold the issues of fighting, that is for also the environment being taken very much serious there. Allow me bring back Alinda and also really maybe add more in relation to what we are discussing. Where is the gap and why are the community members not understanding why they need to be part of also really what we are talking about, and how best can we ensure that now journalists, and not only journalists, and each and everybody out there is part of the environment protection drive?
Thank you so much, Bwana. That is FARISH Majid. The only thing we need to do now, even if we do 1,000 things, they will not help us. We have only 2 things to do. One, mindset change of the community members. Secondly, bridge the gap between the affected and the infected. Because in this case, if you are not infected, you are affected.
Maybe first explain to us who are the affected and who is the infected.
The affected, I mean the infected, these are the people who deal direct with the business of cutting down the trees for various reasons.
Usually they say the trees, maybe the charcoal from West Nile sub-region is the
yes,
best.
those are the. So these ones who directly cut, the one who gets a panga goes and cuts the tree, puts it down and so on and so on. That one is directly infected if there is an implementation of anything. And the affected, these are the consumers of the products from the trees. Yes, if you are, as you have said, if they are saying that the best charcoal is from West Nile, and if there are no vehicles crossing Karuma taking the charcoal to Kampala, somebody is affected in Kampala. The use of the charcoal in Arua here is also affected. So how do we need to bridge the gap? As we are doing thorough, mobilization and sensitization, we need to put these people on board. Let them be the first. You see, I come from a district where we grow sugar canes. That is a Masindi district. We have sugar canes both for the company and for the outgrowers. Initially, before, there was an issue where people were burning sugar canes. Remember, we are getting the sugar from the sugar canes. But people, the community would burn the sugar canes in dry season. They set fire. And now, after setting fire, you find around 10 tons of sugar canes have been burnt and destroyed. So, meaning there is going to be increase in the price of the sugar because the factory is not getting enough. What did the Kinyara sugar do? It said no. When we are the ones planting these sugar canes, the community perceives us as people who are the owners of the sugar cane. So they don't look at it. So it introduced the outgrowers section. Everybody in the community plant. You have land? Yes. You avail land? We are coming to plant for you. Even we shall put everything they are the ones to do for us. After that, we shall remove our money. The balance is yours. From that time, when the community started burning their own sugar, they said, no, as a community, what do we need to do? They sat and got the solutions. And the solutions was anyone who is found setting fire, you are charged by the community. And at the end of the day today, in January, maybe on rare occasions, when it is a dry season, that's when you find sugar canes burning, but you will not find sugar canes burning the way they used to burn when they were for the factory. So why the community and the Kinyara sugar factory bridged the gap, said, no, we need to involve these people in this. So how do we involve this in protecting the environment? One, if we are to change the mind of these people, we need to involve them. As you said, there's somebody in Madiokolo, there's somebody in Riki, there's somebody in my village who is not, even if you tell him about don't cut trees, in the evening he's already cutting trees. Yes, we are not saying that don't cut trees, but there is what we call minimal cutting of trees. And the law has been there, it has not started today that if you want to cut one tree, at least plant two. But this person has not done that. But now we are saying, what do we do? Can we bridge this gap? As we are saying, you see, sometimes change is a process. You can't bring something in the morning and you think it will work in the afternoon. No, it is a process. As we are doing it in the process, an example, we shall keep on referring to Madiokolo because that is where we know most charcoal comes from. Yes, an example, if you are stopping people of Madiokolo in Anyiribu from cutting trees, you as government or we as the community, what have we done? Because they say government, we are the government. So what have we done? The government has brought a parish development model. Has the money reached this person? And when it has reached the person, have you told him, no, apart from, if you have received 1 million, I am the other youth in the village they are using to cut these trees, because the old mamas also you are talking about, they don't cut these trees by themselves. They are using the energetic youth who are cutting these trees down. So have we changed? Since in this PDM there is that component of the youth where they have money. So has this youth received this money? Have you sensitized this youth on what to do? If it is a PDM, you know it is all with agriculture. And when it comes to the village settings, agriculture, then it means we need to plant. I mean, we need to do farming. Yes. Has this youth been availed with some land to do the farming? Have you taken him through that, you know, as you were planting, when it is now rainy season, this farm of yours, you can surround it with trees. And they will make it beautiful. At the end of the day, when you need a good shade, you will sit just at your shade. When there is
only shade and money.
Yes, when you need the money tomorrow, you will be selling these trees. Have you told this youth that in the future, when you produce children, that these trees can help you in paying school fees for the children? So we need mindset right from the villages. Let us involve everybody. How are we involving everybody? Let the forest or let the trees be owned by the community, not by a section of people. Because if we leave them to Faris, everybody will be passing and saying, those are Faris' trees. I want to give you an example. The colonialists were not Ugandans. In this case, I'm talking about Uganda. But in every place where the colonists used to stay, they planted trees. And these are the trees we are treasuring up to today. Up to now, up to today, up to tomorrow. Like if you come to Arua here, you pass via Arua Golf Course. Yes, you see those days the DCs, the colonialists who were the DCs, used to stay mostly around this place where we are, in Anyafio here. So the offices were the other side where the offices of the RDC are. That is Weather Parkland. Yes, but now whenever he would be coming from office, the road which was bringing him, that's why you see that road via St. Philip's like that, they would all be planted with trees.
Okay, as we are running out of time, I want to sorely first head into a short commercial break, but sorry to cut you short as we bounce back with that discussion. This is still the Kokoliriko Live, so we are 2 minutes up to the hour of that is 8 o'clock, and our final destination is 9 o'clock. But before we get to give you that, we are still discussing on how best journalists can be part of the environment fight, and that does bring us to the first break of the show. And my name is FARISH MAJID. I'm together with a list of panelists. We are discussing, and these are people who love the environment, by the way. These are people who love, these are activists. I love calling them activists. That is the environment, and that is also really a reason as to why we sample them, because it is relating to our theme for this year's celebrations. But before we get to continue with the discussions, let's first have a short commercial breather, and we bounce back shortly.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
The National Population and Housing Census 2024 is here. Uganda is to conduct the Census 2024 this May to update our population status that will support government to plan for every citizen. The numeration team is in the field to respond to all the necessary interests by you and me as they register all of us. Note that the census night is 9th May 2024. Let us all be part of this exercise by working with the numerators, provide correct data and information. This exercise is to assist the government in planning government resources properly, provide efficient service delivery, and the formulation of national policies. The numeration will start on the 10th to 19th, 2024, and the counting will be done at our homes or places of residence. The Census 2024, it matters to be counted. This message is brought to you by Dr. Chris Mukiza, the Executive Director, Uganda Bureau of Statistics, and the Government of Uganda.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Welcome back to that short commercial breather. We are back with the Kokoliriko live show on West Nile Television. Today is the 3rd of May and it is also the World Press Freedom Day, and that is why we are here with the wonderful panel that is journalists, and we want to also discuss how best we can see also how we can be able to be part of this fight that is also really in relation to what we also want to see, because the environment has really also very much affected us, and that's the reason as to why we are saying now we want to be part of the fight. That's against what we call environment destruction, and really as journalists, where you understand we hold the powers, and that is also really a reason as to why we not only want to talk about press freedom, but we want to talk about how journalists can also really utilize that freedom that we are talking about now to also do a good cause that is in relation to what we want to see, that is environment protection. And that is the reason as to why, before we did go for the break, Alinda was still explaining to us on how best journalists can be part of that drive and what has been lacking and what needs to be done now, because we are talking about the 5 W's and the H, and now with the solution, because we also need to have that addition of the S now, which is the solution, and where the stories not only stop, that is with the 5 W's and H, but rather also need now to end with what we call the S, which is the solution, and that is also really why we are here now. And remember, our final destination remains that is 9 o'clock, and really it is also still the month of the census, which I also want to call upon now each and everybody to be also actively engaged in, because if you really look at the 9th of May, which is said to be the census night, that is when the exercise will be commencing, and each and everybody must now be also part of that exercise. I do understand some people are going to be shunning it, but I really want to caution you that that is really against the laws, because you are going to be infringing on other people's rights, because government uses the statistics obtained from the counting also so that also they can budget for what is also really there in the next 10 years. And now to start off with a discussion in our second hour, remember you too so still can be part of the show, and really to check on, that is through some of your comments here. We do have quite many, but I will be able to go through the 2 which are here on Facebook. I'm seeing that is also Edmond Fred saying, watching you live from Kampala, thanks for the show and wish you happy World Press Freedom Day. And also I want to extend the same to my colleagues. This is from Edmond Fred. And also do have, that is Awanik Morris says, well done. We also want to say thank you so much, Morris, for being part of the show. And now I want to bring back Alinda to continue where he left from. You're most welcome into our second half of the show.
Yes, thank you so much, and viewers, thank you so much also for interesting in us and interesting in West Nile TV. And by the time we went for the break, I was still explaining to you how you can change the mind of this youth. You see, if we don't change now, you see currently we are seated on, this is a hot plate that the youth have become a problem in every situation. If we don't empower the youth today, I don't know the nature of the country we may have tomorrow. But now the programs have come. Government have brought very many projects. It has even brought industrial hubs. I mean, industrial hubs. Those skilling hubs to make sure that these youth are skilled. But you find that still after attaining these skills, they again come and sit back in the community. Because by the time you went for skills, you were a fisherman. You were the one who used it to cut down the trees. So after that, you come back and continue with what you're doing, and you don't focus on implementing the skills you got. So these are the things we need. Currently, we first need to change the mind of the youth. When we get them, the whole family will be changed. Because our parents today, the decisions sometimes they are taken by the youth. We have very many parents who are saying nowadays that our children have defeated us. But how can your child defeat us? I mean, defeat you. It means now the issue is that you are following the decisions your child is telling you. Now, we need to use these very ones. We use them in the right path. If we are saying now environmental protection, let us plant trees. Yes, you are the youth. Because I know mostly in villages, when you go to villages, you will find that most of us may be having land which was given to us by the parents. As my colleague said, that we, the journalists, we are also community members. We are also children of the parents in the community there. So what have we done in our areas where we have been given? Have we been exemplary? Have we planted 1 or 2 trees? So we need to do this first. The moment we do this, we shall protect the environment. I remember sometimes they say it is situations which drive us to something. In 2020, when the COVID came, before the COVID, I went to the camps. Here we have a case in studies with the Rhino camp. I went to Rhino camp. I found in that place that there was nothing like food. There was nothing like, people were just doing a business of tree cutting.
How was the situation like?
The situation was like, if you reach there, you feel that you are in a heater, you are somewhere where there's too much heat and so on.
Okay.
But now what made the situation change? When COVID came in, they said now no more donations, no food coming. People stay home. I saw when I went there in the time for COVID, I found that the place you would see from far that it was green. How people had planted maize, people had planted cassava, people had planted every sort of food. Being these refugees, they are not allowed to plant long-lasting things. So you will find that there was a solution which was brought by a calamity which was taking place. So it became a solution, and now after COVID, have we implemented it?
Okay.
Can we continue planting? Why do we keep saying the food is not enough and yet we can plant the food here?
Okay, talking about mindset change, if I can be able to briefly also bring in Sabir, on the issue of mindset change. Really, if you see in Yumbe, there's a tree that we call Shiana tree. And this tree is not only Yumbe district, but Yumbe district is actually one of the districts that is known best for having these trees in numbers. If you look at what is also happening in Acholi and Langos sub-regions, this tree is said to be facing extinction. And then there's a company that has come there. It is also really ensuring that there's value addition that is processing the shea nut also really into other products. We did see them also really producing that into smearing oil and other various products. And the issue as to why this was saying the trees affects extinction is actually the issue about mindset, which needs also really mindset change in there, because some people opt to cut the tree down, and then the company, what the company is doing is that it is buying the fruits of this tree from the people, and is telling this people that, look, if at all you also really want to earn money from charcoal, you earn the money once, but imagine where you are going to be earning continuously from the tree. That is well and good. And now what they are doing is they are giving back the fruits and then the trees also for people to plant. And that is also really where we are seeing at least some bit of restoration that is in terms of the shea nut tree species. Besides that, what do you think the companies and the NGOs plus other organizations out there need to do so that also the people understand the benefit of planting these trees? Because what the company is doing is trying to mentor and also urge the people to preserve these trees through buying the fruits. And that is how we are also seeing the preservation of that tree species there. And what else do you think needs to be done apart from also really through buying maybe the tree and the fruits, so that also really would not see people also really cutting down the trees, because we are living in a country where we are living in a world today where there's increase in population, and that also really calls for issues of also really people wanting to settle, and the settlements is where we are seeing also people also getting the trees cut down. And if you really see what is happening in the settlement, most in the refugee hosting districts, one of the issues actually that surrounds the tree cutting is the issue about settlement, and that is also really where we need a restoration in the highest level possible, because if not, we are going to be facing the repercussions not only in the camps but also really across the world. What do you think needs to be done in your own opinion to see to those people embrace what we call restoration? Because we are talking about restoration because most of the people have now faced, most of the trees have faced depletion. If you really see what is happening with our forest cover, they are facing also depletion because some people maybe would not love trees, want to cut them down for their various reasons. What do you think needs to be done?
To me, mindset is not just the word mindset. Mindset comes with action. You cannot just tell me, Sabir, this, and then you stop there. First of all, I like that example you brought in Yumbe district. I know that organization recently organized a tournament.
The Shell Conservation Tournament.
To tell the public that it is important to save these shana trees. Not only shana trees, but do beyond. But their focus mainly primary, I know it is on shana tree, but they keep on talking to people about shana tree, the importance of shana trees. And also they have taken a big step that has gone just beyond changing the mindset as a word, but doing actions of value addition. It is the same thing that Mr. Germa Mustafa, if you remember, he's very famous. The one who walked from Kampala to Arua, that is about 400 plus kilometers, yeah? Just out of anger that people are destroying these shana trees. Madokolo has, I don't know how many thousands of shana trees. Even in my home, our own home, we are surrounded by shana trees. So mindset is beyond the word itself. For example, government has been so much about the youth, unemployment and other things. I'm happy there are skilling programs that have come on place that youth don't involve in insecurity issues, bad behaviors, but on the other hand, they introduced skilling programs, yeah? They introduced skilling programs. These are strategies that we need to translate it to the same community, If you go to Madokolo, I covered the lecture in Madokolo. It gave me opportunity to move actually the whole of Madokolo district. I learned that poverty is one of the challenges, just like any other place is one of the challenges. So before you go and tell maybe someone in Madokolo or Ajumani to stop cutting trees for making money, you give an alternative to the person, or you can even scan the area, what best can be done here. For example, if it is government or organizations, scan the area on best what maybe economic activity can be done to see that it's changed quickly on that.
You're not talking about government efforts to also see that people take advantage of the various projects maybe government is bringing. Because if you see what is happening right now is the rollout of connectivity to the national, maybe also what we call access to electricity, where we have seen those homesteads near also the poles are connected at a cheaper cost. And this is also to make sure people also really get connected to electricity, so that also the issues of cutting down trees for energy, maybe for fuel energy, which we are talking about, what we call firewood, can also be moved away, so that people can also maybe embrace using electricity for other activities. But in your own opinion, what is still lacking? Maybe what has the government done that needs to be done also to see that people do not also rely very much on firewood, and then maybe also really take advantage of the electricity that government is planning also really to roll. And really, if you see Western Sub-region, we are still lacking behind. That is in terms of also really access to electricity, where we look forward to being connected to the national grid, and we are still waiting for that connection maybe to come. And what do you think needs to be done to see that those people do not over-depend, that's on firewood now, but they can rather take advantage of what we call electricity for their various activities?
First of all, like extend electricity to... First, Obongi does not have electricity. Let me just be very sure on that. At least the last time I was in Obongi district, does not have electricity connectivity.
Does that guarantee why there is a need for over-dependence on firewood? Does it call for?
There are so many people in Obongi district, for example, who can afford to connect electricity in their homes, in their maybe facilities where they can employ many people, but the connection stops somewhere that's not reach Obongi district. It is the same thing, Zombo, at some Zombo, and maybe at some point, there are some areas that they have not reached. If you talk about related electricity and the use of firewood, I'm just drawing some connection, I mean, just link between the two. In some areas, they don't reach there. But even if electricity is connected to all these places, not everyone can 100% afford to connect electricity at home. But that does not stop extension of these wire lines, for example, in these districts. But still about the mindset change. I know you talked about this campaign that government brought liaison with Wenreko to reduce at a reduced cost. These are some of the things that I think can help a lot. But if you just specifically talk about use of charcoal, we have briquettes, we have other things.
How about the cost of electricity? Why is it, don't you think it is really also a contributing factor to why people are not embracing that is this energy we're talking about as an option to the cutting down of trees for firewood?
We cannot run away from these things. Some of these, in a few 10 years to come, we can never run away from some of these things. We can never run away. Everyone, almost everyone, I know it's not all the homes can afford at the moment, but it is going to be necessary. Talk about telephone. How many people use telephone? How many people were able to do this and that? There are so many things that it moves slowly. You are going to embrace it.
Okay. Sabir is very positive that people are going to embrace the use of electricity, and really with the cost of charcoal today, we are seeing maybe a bag of charcoal going, that is for about 70,000 in some places. In other places it is about 55,000. It ranges between 55 to 70,000. That means if maybe government lowers down the cost of electricity, people may also be able to take advantage of, that is what we call, that is electricity for cooking and also other activities, and that would also maybe help save the trees. I don't know what you think about the cost of electricity, how it is impacting on why people are not taking advantage of what we call electricity for their activities such as cooking as an alternative to maybe trees for, that is fuel energy.
Trees, I mean, electricity would not be the problem, but the problem is still our mindset. As I told you that there are some things which have remained in our heads since the time you were born. You see, the Bible says, as it was, it is the way it is, and it is the way it will be forever and ever. Amen. That is in the Bible. Yes, but now some people have also put this in their day-to-day activities. I will give you some simple example. When you hear a person from West Nile going out, which kind of job does the person go for?
Sugarcane growing.
Sugarcane growing, askari. But our security guard general. I know. But is that what people of West Nile were born to do? Or northern Uganda? So, for us there, when you go to Western, we believe that best doctors come from the north, come from West Nile. But the people of northern Uganda think when I'm going out of northern Uganda or West Nile, I'm going for sugarcane cane cutting. We call them kasamvus. If you go and you will see wherever there are these factories, there are the many who are there. Now, this is what we are calling mindset change in the community, in the home. Some of the homes you will find that they will tell you, you tell them, no, you know, this is the new change we have, which has come. They say, no, you people have gone to school, have started coming here to, this is how our things, we have been doing this since the other grandfather, the other one. We did not change this. And now, who are you coming?
And that is the commonness with what we call charcoal, also charcoal burning.
The same applies to this. That's why I'm saying now, how do we do this? I told you now we need to bridge a gap. We first show them. If it means taking these people out for tours to understand in other places how these things happen. I was very happy with the Madiokolo district. Recently, you know, the introduction of the
restoration of Ajay Game Reserve.
Yes, the restoration of Ajay Game and the introduction of those the white rhinos. Yes, there are communities which were resistant. But what did the Uganda Wildlife do? They said, no, we need to take these people out for tours where these things are. And they should see. So they were there learning how the animals are coexisting with the community, how is the community benefiting from the game reserves which are near them. So people went
And
for
that is where mindset is not just words.
Yes, it is in where the mindset does not become a word. They bridged that gap. That, oh, this community is by the time the community came back, it was already set, and these were now the ambassadors to do the work. The community, you see, the moment the community is not involved, there is nothing which will change.
Okay.
We need to involve the community from the word go up to the word. So when it comes to also electricity, yes, electricity will go up to Bongi. But do people know that cooking using electricity saves?
And the fears surrounded by it, that it kills.
That it kills. So the person has to first know that if we are cooking using electricity, that it saves charcoal. But the person will say, again, it is going to increase my bill of units,
I don't know,
the units.
Talking about mindset change, many people have often raised challenges surrounding the costs that is of electricity. And if you really look at gas that would be as an alternative to what we call firewood, it is still very much expensive, because to refill a gas right now, it goes, that is above 50,000, and that is something that cannot be afforded. Somebody talked about poverty in most of the rural homesteads, which cannot be able to afford that is so what we call gas. And really the mindset is very much key, because somebody will say, I'm not going to be using this for quite a long period of days.
Now, as we agreed that mindset is a process, can we begin with briquettes?
And who lies in, who is supposed to be maybe doing that, to also tell this for now?
It is the community. Can we begin teaching those? You know, in villages, the good thing I like village settings, that these people are always organized. We have VSLAs. These are village saving groups. They have already members who are there, and these members are always ready to learn. We have the village women groups. We have the youth what in villages. So can we begin? We say now, you know, for us to increase our income in our group, let us say as group members, you teach them how to make briquettes and begin selling these briquettes. These briquettes are sold. There's a group in Tanganyika here which makes these briquettes. And they are sold at 1,000. But you'll find at the end of the day, they have brought some money in the in the group.
Sabir, maybe if you can
let me just connect a dot on that.
Also do some talking about also censorship. And
let me just connect one dot on that about the briquette. I covered a story where Dr. Deep started in 2021, I think 2020. No, that was after, it started in 2017. Later on, like 2 years after, there's a project in Nyanglia Primary School, briquette making. And these people had got a project of 50 million. So this 50 million, the project did not start. 2 years later, I had to go on ground and investigate what happened, blah, blah, blah. When I had interview with the school administrator, Nyanglia Primary School, they explained to me how they will actually benefit so much. That time, they were using like 200,000 for firewood. But the HM was telling me, once the project started, they calculated that they're going to save this money because they're going to make it, the process, the briquette at the school. Then there's a group that the project is given to. Will also keep selling. Now, two weeks ago, I talked to this person. They're making about 500,000 out of this one. I think weekly or daily, I mean monthly. But I'm just trying to link this one that briquette actually saves. If you compare to
using charcoal,
because it helps in double, saving environment and also saving money. Because for them they use charcoal dust, not this real charcoal.
So now that's why I was saying before we got for electricity, can we begin from briquettes? Then after us getting the monies, our village savings have been empowered. We were at the end of the year we were getting maybe the person saving was getting 150. This time you are getting 500. Can we think of now telling him, you know, when you buy a gas, it will save you on this and this? Can we also maybe put them in groups now? We start saying now we let us use them in groups. So this one is going to be a process by process, whereby at the end of the day, people's minds will change. Then the other last issue, maybe not the last, but for now, the last for now, I would talk about is, can we or can the government enroll these solutions up to the communities? Let us now use community-based solutions. How? Can we put music, dance, and drama at a village level? Let villages compete. What is the theme? saving trees for the future. Let the villages compete, village A versus village B. The theme is saving trees for the future. Village B, and there should be this. The competitions should have gifts.
Okay.
People should get at the end of the day, so that we know that village A. And by the way, these gifts should be heavy gifts. If it is in terms of monetary,
to motivate.
yes.
Okay.
If it is in terms of monetary value, if they say if village A wins, yes, and they are getting 2 million, you see sometimes what demotivates people is you are investing 500 to go and compete for 200,000.
Okay. Then
so
that is it in relation to, I think we have very, very much talked about the issue about in relation to the theme, which is environment. And now let's also talk about some aspect that is of media freedom, because if you really see our media freedom, we are facing a number of challenges, more so where we are also really facing a number of challenges ranging from unprofessionalism, then citizen journalism with its own negative challenges. And today, the broadcast is already facing challenges that is also really from social media, where there is no gate pass, and also the gatekeeping, where anybody is a journalist, maybe anybody is an editor, to drop whatever thing that they feel needs to go on air without it being necessarily controlled. And that is why we are having so many challenges ranging from people also taking the advantage of the laws in their hands. Recently, we did see somebody arrested and also really being released on bail just a few days ago for insulting the head of state, that is His Excellency Dr. Museveni, together with the King of Buganda, that is also the King of Buganda, that is Ronald Muwenda Mutebi, for also really being very, very much misusing social media there. And that is why we are having so many laws that come today. We do have, that is the Computer Misuse Act, and several others that are really there to curtail and also really control, that is the aspect of misuse of the media, because we have seen the media doing sometimes also the service. If you really look at the 1990 Rwanda genocide, it is actually partly said to have been fueled by the media. We did have papers like the Kangura newspaper and other radio stations that also did play a crucial part in fueling that there, because they did spread the gospel that later on led to a killing of another poor. And now we want to see and also want to seek your ideas and opinions just in 1 minute each before we head into the break, as later on we come back on how best can the media work without necessarily infringing on what we call, that is the freedom of maybe freedom of speech, without necessarily also really being infringing or maybe using it to infringe on the rights of others. Just in 1 minute each, and then later on we go for the commercial break that will be ushering us back with more of that. I will be able to start with you, Sabir, and then will do the summary.
Well, talking about the media freedom, I think this is all around, starting from the media houses to the practitioners themselves. Let me kickstart with the media houses. The fact is, there are so many media houses where you cannot find maybe human rights policy, you cannot have newsroom policies. These are tools that can actually guide, a journalist to practice the duty. So when you go in the field as a journalist without the picture in mind that, okay, my media house wants me to talk to 4 people or 3 people, especially when the story is conflict or it really needs response. Now you go and talk to Farish, and yet Farish is in dispute with Alinda, and you don't bring Alinda's voice in the story. Of course, definitely you're biased already. That someone can just read. So these are some of the things. Media houses, there are so many that I know they don't have these policies in place, and then in fact, in turn, it affects the personality, the media house themselves, but also the mindset, as well as we're talking about agriculture in environment, but also let's bring the mindset here in our profession. What mindset do you have when you're going to do stories? There are people who go to do news with the picture and went, okay, this is what I'm going to have. Okay. Whether you reach there, the things changed, you're going to come with what exactly you have. Okay. So I think we need to put professionalism first. Talking to people, how maybe skills of interviewing.
We are already 30 minutes after 8 o'clock. You have taken more than the 1 minute. Let's first have this short commercial breather. I know time is not our best ally. Time is really catching up with us. And really we would wish to continue with the discussions, maybe up to midday, but time may not be able to allow us. But let's first have this short commercial breather. And when we bounce back, we shall be able to expound on the discussion later on. We are talking about media freedom and how best it can be respected without violating necessarily the rights of others. For now, let's first have this quick commercial breather, and we bounce back later on.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
AFCON, all 52 games live only on Star Times. Star Times brings you Africa's biggest football tournament, AFCON 2023 live in English and Luganda commentary. Starting January 13, don't miss Mo Salah, Sadio Mane or Nana. Lead the hunt for gold as they take center stage. Renew your Star Times subscription today and enjoy all 52 matches in HD live on Sports Premium and Sanyuka Prime. Star Times, the official broadcaster of AFCON 2023. This message is powered by Techno, the official sponsor of AFCON 2023.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Alright, welcome back from that short commercial breather. We are now getting to the climax of the discussion, and this is actually where it is getting more interesting, and that is also a reason as to why you, the viewer who is watching us right now, you must still keep it locked on West Nile Television. And our final destination remains 9 o'clock, and after 9 o'clock, that's when the news bulletin in Lugbarati with Mukulia Lawrence will be coming through, and that is for the people who understand the language. Maybe you who is a Lugbara out there, and you feel also you need to understand some of the vocabularies, maybe some of those things that you fail to maybe pronounce in the dialect of Lugbarati. That is only where Mukulia Lawrence will be giving you that. But for now, let's also head with our discussion. And we are talking about World Media Freedom Day, because today, 3rd of May, is our big day, and sorry, it is our Christmas, as maybe our EDO Christmas as people in the journalism profession, and that's a reason as to why we must also celebrate with you. And today, if maybe journalists are going to come to you, you also must shower them with gifts. You must shower them, because this is an important day in their lives, because in Christmas, maybe we are saying also we are being told that also really share and cherish the day, and that's why we're also saying we must also really be cherished on this day, because what we are doing is not a crime, but it is a service that is also really there to be for the member of the society, because we are there to hold the leaders accountable, and we are also there to be the mouthpiece of the mouthless, because these are the people who do not have the powers. We are there to act as their mouthpiece and also really as their speakers, and that is the reason as to why we are now talking about World Press Freedom Day. And earlier on, I did ask Sabir, how best can we ensure that we uphold what we call about media freedom without necessarily infringing of the rights of others? And that's a reason as to why we are seeing so many of these laws emerging, and sometimes also journalists do not also really go well with these laws. Because recently, if you did see what came in the Computer Misuse Act, that is also really where we did see some of the lawyers running to court. That is also to defend the journalists against the rights, because they didn't feel some of the, maybe the provisions in the law were not very much well, but maybe balanced. And that's the reason as to why we are now talking about maybe government government necessarily coming up with these laws, how can journalists themselves also ensure that they are part of this exercise? Allow me to thank that Zabio Dennis. He is watching us and says, good job, comrades. And we also thank you so much, journalist. He is a colleague journalist for really also watching us. And we do very, very much appreciate you. Wish you quick recovery. I do understand you're not feeling well, but we hope at one time you will be fine and also really join us in what we call the foot patrol and moving from people to maybe pose places from here to there to also really see that we keep the masses informed. And now maybe let me first bring back you to Sabir in just some few minutes because we are running out of time. Real time is not our best ally. If you can maybe briefly summarize how journalists can ensure that they work without also really infringing on the rights of others, so that also will not get caught up by these different laws.
No, to me, I think the most important is just professionalism. If you just follow your line, you know, we have media law. If you respect that media law, if we have the laws of the country, if you respect your policies or the media house, these are some of the things that will keep you safe in practicing in your profession. But also, I know there are laws that have been put in place, the Computer Misuse Act. Yes, it helps also media somehow, but also at some point, in some of the clauses, you realize it is to clip down the wings of the media houses or the journalists themselves. So those are some of the things that which I believe is if we respect them well, you're going to help. Okay. But also if you follow the ethics of practicing journalism, you realize you're not going to have any problem with the journalists. But also, among the journalists themselves, there is need for teamwork, there's need for collaboration, regardless of which media house you practice. Farish, you work with Western TV, there's no way I'm going to prevent working with you. You need to come to radio parties, I need to go to a Rowan FM. We need
because
to work
our sole purpose is to serve and also inform the masses.
Because
we do the same job.
Because at the last time, you realize you are all feeding the same community. And there are also things, one of the main reasons why we need to work collaboratively is to first of all protect each other. You know, we protect each other. I remember I had a case when I was covering the issue of Bodifa Forest here, when one angry mob, when one young man came up and they attacked me for taking a photo. I remember my colleagues came up and stood by and then addressed the issue and moved to a rural media team, Western Press Association. The issue was all over. And then the issue, it was settled. So these are some of the reasons why we need to work collaboratively. Even doing some of the stories, we need to work as a team. We have an umbrella board, the Western Press Association. This brings together all journalists of West Nile. So these are some of the things we need to embrace. But above all, let's have professionalism at heart.
Okay, that is it in relation to that. Maybe, Alinda, what can be done to also see to that people do not also really infringe on the rights of others and such that we also do not get caught up by the laws?
Yes, thank you so much. First and foremost, what needs to be done is that our bosses don't need to put us on pressure. You see, we are in a competitive world where we have citizens journalism against the traditional journalism. Yes, where you see nowadays almost all our bosses are on social media. Just he sees something on social media, he's already asking, why are we not running this? But you are saying, why are we not running this? No, that is social media. And for us, we are traditional media where we need to go through all the 5 W's, H, yes, 5 W's, H, and where we have added also S. We look for the solution. But now, sometimes you find that either the bosses who are running this, they will put you on pressure because of the social media.
But you as the editors, are the ones doing that. This is where the process is coming from. Because we have seen you as editors sometimes asking, where is the story? Why is it not also appearing here? We want
as editors, that's why I'm using some bosses. There are those ones who are putting you on pressure, and yet they know that you have to dig the story into deep. But at the end of the day, they are following. Now these are the ones we are calling, they are partly also citizen editors. Yes, these are also partly citizen editors. These ones who are doing information without being verified. You see, sometimes this unverified information moves faster and can mislead the information, I mean the community. So what do you need to do? One, you know, as journalists, the first thing always we have to do to visit the scene of crime. We work as the same as police. Police will never make statement before they reach scene of crime.
But
you have also to reach a scene of crime.
Postmortem can be done.
Yes, postmortem can be done. It is done always in an instance where the issue happened is far from where you are. Especially now, let me come back to the journalists. And if an issue happens in Zombo, maybe let me assume where it has happened, it is maybe 20 kilometers from the town, and the journalists who are to be relied on, they are in Zombo town. So the time they reach the scene of crime, maybe they may find that the dead body, if it was if maybe it was a fight, the dead body has already been taken. If it was an accident, there is nobody there. But still, when you reach there, you will do postmortem from there. What happened here? They will tell you, the people, you see this place, people will tell you. The good thing I like with the community is sometimes they are very okay to give information to the journalists than giving it to the police. The police goes to the same community, everybody shuns away. The journalists come, they will even take it, no, let us take you, they will take you through all the corners of whatever happened. So, one, we don't need pressure, let journalists do the work, not basing on the pressure from the bosses, but basing on what they have done. Sometimes it is not only the pressure from maybe the editors, as you are saying.
We also have individual
maybe before that
self-censorship, which is also there, because sometimes a journalist, Sabri, you understand, you bear with me this about the issue of self-censorship, because sometimes you go to a field and then you have the story, and then for a different reason you kill the story. That's what we call self-censorship. And I know most journalists who have done that issue of self-censorship, maybe for different reasons.
How does that come in? That one comes in, for example, if the story is to take a day, and it is 2 days, the story is nowhere but to be seen. Then I have a right as an editor to put you on pressure. I want the story. I sent you for this story. Where is it? As an editor. But before that, so as I told you, let us not rely on social media. Yes, let social media be as a whistleblower, but can you give us time to do our work, to go to the field and compile the reports? Yes, you see, sometimes we have interference in these businesses. You find that the manager wants to be the news editor. The director of the given media house also, anything small, poop, he's already sharing it with you, and you find that at the end of the day, you are put on pressure. And you as a journalist who is come, you look like as if you are now a criminal. You become a criminal.
About self-censorship, maybe if you can add something briefly about self-censorship, because we have seen journalists, because of different reasons, others money, we see where maybe they go to field and they're not being paid. They kill the story. And how is that maybe affecting the quality of journalism that we are talking about today?
Well, thank you so much. At least I can now say that I've stayed in a newsroom, very organized newsroom for the last 5 years. And before that, I moved to some media houses, and I now know the truth is that newsroom is one of the sensitive departments in a media house. And it is one of the departments that should not be tampered with anyhow. Newsroom is very organized. We have reporters, we have editors, we have okay, let me talk about the media house. We have news reporters, we have sub-editors, we have chief news editor, and then above all we have the station managers and HRS that side, and we have policies in the place. Newsroom does not need rush for all these stories, though there's breaking stories, but you break with we have a policy. Breaking story, how do you break a story? There's a policy. What facts do you need? So those are the things. Alinda talked about some key things that really it was itching me to say. You know, news, as a journalist, you must be at the place where you are. Yes. That is why every morning we have meetings in the newsrooms. Then after that, we must go out and talk to people. For example, if we are reporting about an accident, you as a reporter, you must go in the scene and
on
see
ground
for
and
yourself.
see exactly.
Is it true? What Sobida was saying, this vehicle had an accident here. How many people are involved? How many people died? How many people got injured? Then you are not a doctor to confirm this person is dead. You need to follow these persons who were involved in the accident up to the hospital. That's where they're taken. Now, if he's dead in the hospital, where is the person taken? Which department? Mortuary. You need to go to the mortician and talk to this person. Is this person truly dead? Because you're going to declare someone who is not dead.
Yes.
There are people who can go unconscious, but they can still come back with God's power. So as a journalist, you must be in the field there. Now, newsrooms, I have one big problem with general, the newsrooms, the managements, the media houses where we find an editor.
In just 30 seconds, please, because we're running out of time.
The editors may not be having so much knowledge about news, the ethics, and all those things. And it's one of the things killing the news quality in our media houses, and has many times landed media houses in trouble. Yeah.
Okay, that is it. Maybe your final say, because we're just remaining with about a minute, maybe in 30 seconds, as we summarize the discussions.
One, journalism is not a crime.
Correct.
Let everyone protect the rights of journalists.
Okay.
Yes, those sources who are moreover government, in the government offices or in public offices, or who are custodian of the public offices, who give headache to journalists, should stop.
Okay.
The community, it is your responsibility to protect the journalists because they are helping the community. When we talk about issue-based stories which are affecting our community, you find that at the end of the day, we all benefit when the issue is solved. If we are talking about maybe, for example, now, if you check currently, the current issue we have here as Arua is an issue in the market. For 1 week, they don't have power. People are carrying torches, people are carrying lamps from home to come and operate in the main market.
Okay.
But is that how it is supposed to be done?
But the facility is also not enough, as they have said.
Yeah, no, the facility is enough.
And then the last floor remains unoccupied.
The facility is enough.
Okay,
only that the people are not
That's a discussion for another day, and really that brings us to the end of the discussion. Allow me thank you guys so much for coming through. I want to thank, that is my colleague journalist. This is none other than Alinda Moses. He is the editor, that is of Access FM, and I also want to thank SABIR Musa. He is an award-winning journalist with the Radio PACIS, and I really want to say thank you so much for you guys for coming through and talk to the masses out there. And for those of you who watch us right on Saturdays, we say thank you so much. We are back on channel 477, and also really we look forward to going to the other satellite maybe platforms, and that would also really at the end of the day make us reach everywhere. And also those on social media, those on Facebook, I do very much thank you. I can see a Guy Ruben's message. I also say thank you so much, and not forgetting Twaha Waseme is always watching us, and we say thank you so much in the parts of Ariwara, that's in the Democratic Republic of Congo, for always watching West Nile Television, always loving what happens in West Nile, and that is also really a reason as to why you will be able to get that information. And really with that, we come to a close of the discussions, and up next is the news bulletin in Lubara with Mukulia Lawrence. And for those who speak Lubara, Mateo Abidi Tekediro as I remove lady Tekediro in the Kedirini Mapasani, and we shall be able to link up again till Monday. For now, it's a goodbye from me, and have yourselves a good weekend.